Hello, welcome to this demo. In this demo, we will see how to install and configure MoSMB Cluster package, that is MoSMB CL. So first we'll go through the documentation. The installer pre-dependencies. For MoSMB Cluster, all the pre-dependencies are as similar to the MoSMB standalone build. Only difference is that we need to install and configure Zookeeper servers. So first we will try to install MoSMB with uh, rpm ivh command, which will prompt us for the failed dependencies of the package. And to install these dependencies, we'll need to enable the EPL release, a repository which contains the jemalloc and hemdal-libs packages. And we're configuring two MoSMB servers for the cluster. As we have completed all the dependent packages installation, we should be able to install the MoSMB package. Now you can see that MoSMB is now installed, and all we have to do is configure the licensing and the share related settings and start MoSMB for both the nodes. Now, as we mentioned before, that for MoSMB installation as a cluster, we also need to configure Zookeeper and install it. So today we'll be seeing a single domain cluster and how it works. So for that, the prerequisite is Zookeeper server installation and configuration. So for MoSMB cluster, we recommend having a Zookeeper cluster as well. You can have a Zookeeper in standalone or a cluster mode. But for clustering, we will recommend that to have a Zookeeper cluster as well. And Zookeeper cluster is always in the odd numbers. So it should contain either 3 nodes or 5 nodes or 7 nodes similarly. So if on your machine, if there is any Zookeeper already installed, you can just go to uninstall previous Zookeeper version and uninstall that Zookeeper version, and then we can start with the build and configuration of the Zookeeper version. So prerequisite for this is that we need on CentOS that we need Java 11, and on Ubuntu we need Java 8 or higher. So as we have a CentOS machine, we will install Java 11. And today we'll configure Zookeeper server on 3 of the nodes, 2 MoSMB nodes and one other node which is Alligator 20. Installing this will take some time depending on the network speed. As we can see that Zookeeper installation is complete on all three nodes. I'll just clear the screen. The next step is to get the Zookeeper installer package from the net. So we need Zookeeper 3.6.3 version for MoSMB. The wget command is missing. We'll just install that package. We are fetching the Zookeeper package required, which is Apache Zookeeper 3.6.3 bin from the net. Now we have this package fetched. We will simply next step follow the simply next step, which is to untar this package. You can see that our package has been untarred. Now we'll proceed to configuring the Zookeeper server. To configure Zookeeper server, we need to go to this Apache Zookeeper bin directory. In this, under the conf directory, we have a Zookeeper sample file, which is provided by Zookeeper, and on the etc MoSMB location, we have a MoSMB zoo.cfg sample file, which we can use for the Zookeeper configuration. So today we will copy this file in the Zookeeper directory and rename it as zoo.cfg. copy the same file on our third Zookeeper's node. I'll go through the file contents. Now here what we need to mention is that our cluster of Zookeeper and its information under the server list. So in this case we have 3 Zookeeper servers. With 10.10.0.123 IP address and 10.10.0.125 IP address, and the IP address of this host machine is 10.10.0.255. So we'll be configuring these under the server list. We'll simply comment this out and we'll mention our 3 servers as server.1, 5, and the ports on which they will communicate with each other, server.2, we will have the same configuration and the same sequence of the servers 1, 2, 3 and its corresponding IP addresses on all 3 Zookeeper servers. So we save this file and we'll edit similarly on other 2 Zookeeper servers. The next step is that for the Zookeeper cluster configuration, we need to create this myid file on each of the Zookeeper servers in a sequence which we have mentioned the server list in our zoo.conf file. So we'll just create this file on each of the server with corresponding server name. And mention its server node. In this case, it is 1. Similarly, we will create on other two servers for server list 2 and server list 3. Once these MyID files are created, now we can start the Zookeeper service with bin zk server sh start command on all the three nodes. So our command is bin zk server sh start. See here that Zookeeper server is started. We'll start on other two nodes as well. We'll check the status. You can see that this node is in the follower mode. And our Crocodile 54 has become a Zookeeper leader server. So we have two follower nodes, Zookeeper followers, and one Zookeeper leader node, which is Crocodile 54. So that's it for the Zookeeper configuration and installation. Now this is the half of the part of MoSMB cluster installation. Now in the next lecture we will see that how to configure the Kerberos settings for the MoSMB cluster and how to start using MoSMB as in a cluster mode.